Hello, I'm back, and I gotta finish getting ready. 1 second. Finished. All right. I could not go on today without not at least finishing up the Indiana Jones dating game movie reaction dating game trilogy. I said we were going to finish up on it because of time conflict. As you see, I'm super late. We're going to be on quite a bit today, so you will be seeing me 3 times today, back to back. So I decided, hey, I could at least dedicate 20 minutes to wrapping up this part of February's monthly movie tribute. So we're still celebrating February, even though it's March 5th, okay, or 4th. Which one is it? Oh, I was right, March 5th. But listen, February is a short month. And we're just going to have to do a little, rollover sometimes when we have these monthly movie tributes, okay? So, with that being said, let's get into Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This movie, I think came out in 1989. Can't quite remember at the moment. Let me pull up the visual here, because I always have a visual for you guys. Yes, this movie came out in 1989, starring, of course, Harrison Ford, which, by the way, is one of the rare actors who continues his character in a film series. It's not very many of them that do that. So, welcome to our movie reaction dating game. We have our last contestant for Indy, number 3, a wild card. Not so much a love interest in this movie, but definitely our Indiana Jones girl of the film. Hold on, because I don't have my notes on this lady. I know her name. I know she's a doctor, Dr. Elsa. Hold on. Matter of fact, let's do this. We'll be right back after this short break. Alright, we officially can start this thing. Our third match on this movie reaction dating game is Dr. Elsa Schneider. She is our wild card. Elsa is an Austrian art historian and former Olympic swimmer. Recruited by the Germans to find the Holy Grail, it causes her to cross paths with our bachelor, Indiana. Her beauty, smarts, and charm are mostly used for deception. She is crafty, conniving, and may be too hot for Jones to touch, making her the wild card pick of this dating game. So, our timeline is 1938. It's 2 years after Raiders of the Lost Ark. And in The Last Crusade, we go home. Back to Indiana's roots, meeting his father. And again, the third film of the series. It premiered at the beginning of the summer in June of 1989 with intentions to lighten up the character's image from Temple of Doom. Even the addition of the former James Bond, Sean Connery, could not capture the way we felt. So, we'll get into the success and this movie actually is actually, and we are the 39-minute mark. If you would like to join along as we actually Indiana and his father are with the finding the girl. So I'm gonna get into some movie trivia here in just a moment. As you can see, I have the trailer going on in the movie. I know it's a little laggy. I apologize for that. I wish I could fix that. It's not me, it's the app that I'm using to go live. All right. Now, let's pull up this music so we can get copyright, because you know I can't show the movie, and we're so super close to ending our strike on the channel. We're about a week out or so. March the 16th, I believe, will be the lift. So stay tuned for great things after that date. Let's get into some movie trivia here while we finish watching the movie. Oh, dude just got his head chopped off. Whoa. Whoa. Whew. Didn't see that coming for an Indiana Jones movie. Harrison Ford nominated River Phoenix, may he rest in peace, to play him as a teenager, having worked with him before on one of his favorite mini movies, The Mosquito Coast in 1986. Steven Spielberg included that opening scene as a tribute to his own experience as a Boy Scout. The filming location was South Park Avenue, Arches National Park in Utah. Wait, what? The character named Fedora in the credits, played by Richard Young, was in the script originally named Abner Ravenwood, Marion's father and Indiana's mentor, who was mentioned in Raiders of the Lost Ark and later in the next one, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which came out in 2008. Harrison Ford cut his chin in a car accident in South Carolina when he was about 20 years old. In this movie, that cut is explained by young Indiana cutting his chin with a whip. So that's a real scar on his face. Oh, wow. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, he got shot. It's a lot of trivia on this. Okay, goofsies. That means like little hiccups in the movie. When Marcus enters the classroom where Indy is teaching his class, the window to the right is open, but after class is dismissed, the window is closed. That's when Brody pays him a visit. So I don't know what time stamp that is. Character era. When Indiana Jones first sees the tablet, he identifies it as the early Latin text from the mid-12th century. The text is not early Latin, but rather late Latin. Early Latin refers to Latin before the golden age of Cicero and Caesar. In the 12th century, people used only medieval Latin. The first Indiana Jones movie to receive an MPAA rating higher than PG, meaning the created PG-13 that was brought out of Temple of Doom, was the certificate for which Steven Spielberg and prequel Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom were partly responsible. Yeah. So this got a PG-13 rating as well, which I'm not surprised seeing that somebody just got their head cut off. When Indy, Elsa, and Brody are walking to the library, Indy is wearing his hat, but inside the library, Indy's hat has disappeared and is not in his hand. Didn't notice that either. Revealing mistake. During the library scene, where the large X is on the floor, Indy climbs a spiral staircase to get a better look at the floor. When he's at the top, the bookcase behind him is clearly made up of book spines glued to a black background. Oh, wow. I never noticed that. References to the writer of the Lost Ark. When Indy and Elsa are examining the inscriptions of the tomb, Indy identifies one of them depicting the Lost Ark of the Covenant. He would know and recognize that Ark's general appearance from having seen it in person. I did notice that part. So, 2,000 rats were bred for this production. Breeding them specially was necessary, as you know. Ordinary street rats carry disease. So they had to specially breed rats just for the scene with the tombs in this movie, which was rather disgusting. Amanda Redman was asked to play the female lead of Elsa, but turned it down because of her real-life fear of rats. When it came to filming the rat scene, the producers inquired of their insurer, Fireman's Fund, whether they were insured if the animals were for some reason indisposed due to illness or an accident, or simply because they refused to perform. This was a delicate issue, as one lost day of filming can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. The experts at Fireman's Fund were able to please both sides. The number of rats needed for the dramatic shot. If different camera angles were used, 1,000 could be sufficient. Thus, the fund underwrote the work. I can't believe they actually put insurance on a bunch of rats. First insurance policy with 1,000 rat deductible. 1,000 mechanical rats were also used in the scene to help achieve the sound of 1,000 rats. Insurance, though, like, I know, I guess if they had to recoup the money. I think that is the coolest scene out of all three Indiana Jones, is when he had to walk across on faith and the bridge comes even though you can't see it. I think that was so cool. Wow. So on 3 separate occasions, Harrison Ford and Sir Sean Connery passed up opportunities to work together. Those 3 moments were Connery accepted the role in The Hunt for Red October while Ford declined the role of Jack Ryan, which was Alec Baldwin. Ford and Connery declined the roles of Alan Grant and John Hammond in Jurassic Park. Connery also declined to come back from retirement to reprise his role as Henry Jones Sr. in the 4th installment of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Sir Sean Connery was also Steven Spielberg's first choice to play Indiana Jones' father, as an inside joke, to say that James Bond is the father of Indiana Jones. If that had failed, Gregory Peck and John Pertwee were backup choices for the role, and Spielberg always wanted to do a Bond movie, but did Indiana as a James Bond type character. In keeping with James Bond's theme, the movie has many Bond movie co-stars: John Rhys Davies, Alison Doody, Julian Glover, Stefan Khalifa, Pat Roach, Eugene Lipsky, Michael Byrne, and Vernon Dopchev. Steven Spielberg is on record saying that he made this movie for 2 reasons: to fulfill a 3-movie obligation he made with George Lucas, and to atone for the criticism that he received from previous installment Temple of Doom. So if Temple of Doom wouldn't have had this black cloud over it because it was so full of dark tones and uncomfortable images, then, he actually drunk out the grill and lived? I'm pretty sure he's gonna turn into a sack of bones. Anyway, oh yeah, there you go. He's dying. Oh yeah, he's dying. So, he is aging tremendously. Oh. Oh, yeah. Why do the Germans all have to melt and become so decrepit and just explode? They did that in the Raiders of Ark. But anyway, because of that, we got the rest of these Indiana Jones. I always wonder if Temple of Doom had a better reception. Would he have still continued, you know? Well, I guess he would have out of obligation, too, to the George Lucas contract. But it's just weird how that one little negative, you know, thing about the movie, that little negative aurora around the movie is what spiraled all of these other Indiana Jones. But this one just did not do it. And that's probably because the movie continuing after the first one. But do we really want to see him fighting with the Germans again? That was the question, I think, from an audience point. So Indiana Jones in Berlin in 1938, this is a mistake, was seeing the infamous burning of the books, but that actually in fact happened in 1933, May of 1933. So by 1938, the books would have been already confiscated. Oh, wow. Okay, so Henry Jones Sr., Indiana's father, calls him Junior 16 times. He only calls him Indiana twice. He also calls him son 4 times and a boy 3 times. Indiana tells his father not to call him Junior or that, which is boy, 3 times, and almost does a 4th, but is interrupted. Indiana calls his father Dad a total of 54 times. 4 times when Henry Sr. isn't in the scene. Wow, talk about, that was some good count going on right there. There's a lot of things I did not notice in this. When Henry Jones Sr. scares the seagulls to fly up and stop the plane, those are in fact pigeons, as seagulls cannot be trained. What? Oh my goodness, what is going on here? What? Wait, I have to read this out loud because this is a lot. So, Chris Columbus wrote a couple of drafts. His first draft was dated May 3rd, 1985, called Indiana Jones and the Monkey King, and it revolved around the Garden of Immortal Peaches as the main plot. It begins in 1937 when Indiana on vacation in Scotland, where he battles the murderous ghost of Baron Seaman Seagrove III. Indiana then travels to Mozambique to aid Dr. Claire Clark, a Catherine Hepburn type of character who has found a 200-year-old pygmy named Tiki Tiki. The pygmy possesses a scroll with directions to the lost city of the Monkey King, Sun Wukong. The Monkey King orchard reportedly grows fruit that grants eternal life, so the Nazis, led by a hulking officer called Lieutenant Werner von Mephisto, are also interested to find the city. This is a lot going on, but it sounds exciting. On the way over by the boat, the pygmy is kidnapped by the Nazis, led by Mephisto's subordinate Sergeant Helmut Gutterberg, who has a machine gun for an arm, escapes in a 3-story tall tank. Indiana Clare and Scraggy Briar, an old native friend of Indy, travels up the Zambezi River and rescue him. When they arrive at the gates of the lost city, they find it defended by guerrilla guardians, but Tiki is able to reason with them before they can harm anyone. When the Nazis arrive, a large battle ensues between them and the guerrillas, in which the guerrilla commander commandeer a tank, and Indiana gets knocked into a pit of tigers and is saved by the Monkey King, a skeletal being half man and half monkey, through a piece of fruit from his garden. Indiana finally leaves with Dr. Clark and a shape-shifting staff he received from the Monkey King. Other characters include a cannibalistic African tribe, Betsy, a stowaway student who is suicidally in love with Indy, a band of pirates led by Kezer, who dies eating a peach because he is not pure of heart. That's the first draft for what would have been The Last Crusade. All right. Now, here's the second draft. Dated August 6, 1985, removed Betsy and featured Dash, an expatriate bar owner whom the Nazis work, and the Monkey King as villains. The Monkey King forces Indy and Dash to play chess with real people and Is that right? Oh, and disintegrates each person who is captured. Indiana subsequently battles the undead, destroys the Monkey King's rod, and marries Claire. Location scouting commenced in Africa, but Steven Spielberg and Lucas untimely abandoned Monkey King because of its negative depiction of African natives, and because of the script was too unrealistic. Spielberg acknowledged that it made him feel very old and too old to direct it. However, the tank chase sequence is in this movie and was taken from one of his drafts, as well as the theme of an object that grants eternal life, hence the Holy Grail. Members of the Chicago-based podcast Alka Hollywood began periodically releasing an early draft of this script in an audio play at the beginning of 2017. Unable to keep his hat on during the scene where he is chasing the tank on horseback, despite trying to glue, tape, and even newspaper wedges, Harrison pretended to staple the hat to his head. There is a lot of trivia on this. In the scene at the temple where Indy is walking the name of God and falls through the floor after stepping on the wrong letter, the debris falls with him on the cutaway shot, and then it disappears. Oh, never knew that. So let me wrap this up because we've already went over 10 minutes. Okay, so The Last Crusade budget was $48 million. It boxed office at $474 million. Okay, and it won Academy Award for Best Sound Effects and Editing. And of course, it also spawned off its fourth sequel, with the fifth one premiering June 30th of this year, the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So this movie, you know, at this point, we know Indiana. It's been 2 months. It's 1989. It's been about 3 years, give or take, 4 maybe, in between the second and third one. So we've gotten over the whole shock of the second one and some appalling moments, right? So at this point, Indiana is an endeared character. We know what he's about. He's about trying to save, you know, history and the world at the same time. So I believe the success of the third one was just based off of already knowing who Indiana was and just falling in love with the character from the first beginning in 81 of the Raiders of Ark. Even though critics did say this lacked a lot of novelty that the first one had, it was still exciting to watch if you are in love with Indiana Jones and to see where he came from and his father. Let's not forget, Sean Connery's presence did amp it up just a bit. So with that being said, of course we don't know, but by popular demand, he does end up with match number 1, Miriam. They have a son together. Now, they don't end up together like getting married, but on the dating game, he definitely ends up with the girl. Forever, happily ever after. Have a kid, name him Junior. We'll get to see all of that maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about the Dial of Destiny except for everyone's excited about its release. So until then, you guys, this is the end of Indiana Jones and our movie reaction dating game here on Clubhouse 81. If you would like to check out any of the Indiana Jones movies, they are for free if you have a subscription with Amazon Prime. You saw it here for the 2023's movie monthly tribute of February, Rome Action. I'm out of here and I'll be right back.